Ms. Jackson, I want to again thank you for selecting our services. I know what services are you all choosing for your loved one?
Well, we're talking mainly about cremation, Mr. Carter.
Okay.
And I would like to know what types are there. Is it, as I believe I've heard the term direct cremation.
Yes, ma'am.
And what other options are there? You know, if we wanted to have a viewing of
Okay, well,
some
let me
sort.
explain several choices that's
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes,
Direct
sir.
cremation is what we would do once we picked up your loved one. We would have where you identify to make sure that is your loved one, and you would sign the paperwork for direct cremation.
Oh.
Once we cremate your loved one, we would return the cremains back to you to do as you so choose. Then we can have a viewing followed by cremation, where you all would have a rental casket, and you can rent the casket. We will embalm, and we would dress, and we would have viewing hours for the time you all select, where friends and loved ones can come and pay their final respects. Following that, we would cremate. And then there is what is called a funeral followed by cremation, which is some similar to the viewing, but we would go through the viewing process as well as having a funeral. And then after the funeral, we would cremate your loved one and return your loved one's cremains back to you. So those are the options of cremations that you can choose from.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, what about if we wanted to go the route of the funeral cremation? How about the urn?
Well, we have in our selection room, as you saw, that we would take you to, we have several choices, and then we have some books that you can look in if you want to choose an urn. The urn is additional to whatever package that you choose, but we will put the cremains in the urn. If you want the funeral followed by cremation, we will put the cremains in the urns, and we would, give those to you at a later date at the cremation.
Oh, okay. But in doing that, Mr. Carter, would we be able to? Because I have known others who, after receiving the urn and everything, that they still could be like placed in, at the cemetery, like in a wall or.
Well, yes, if you all
those
have,
kind of options,
if you all have a cemetery space
yes,
at
yes,
a cemetery,
and that I do.
if it's at a private family cemetery or if it's at a memorial park, we will coordinate with the cemetery. They would require certain things, that there is like a vault that we would put the urn in and that we would enter into the ground. And then they have niches that if you have, it's almost like what you would look at like a mausoleum. But technically it's like a mausoleum for urns.
Yes,
And in your private family cemetery, we would ask the same thing. There's like a vault that we would order to put the cremains in, and we would bury the cremains at probably between 3 to 4 feet in the ground.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have one other question
Sure.
I need to ask you, Mr. Carter. Now, if we wanted to still do all of that, like maybe place them in a mausoleum or buried or whatever, but we still wanted to go through, we have some loved ones that might want to, or at the request of the deceased prior to their passing, we wanted to like strew the ashes out over the sea or.
Well, there are several companies, because of environmental, we have to make sure we do that in the right way. So there are several companies that we can contact that can take the family out on a boat and that can spread the ashes in certain areas that are permitted. So we do have brochures and companies that we can call that we would contact, and we can get their pricing on that and availability to do that. So that is possible.
And still be able to say bring the urn back and have it still put at the cemetery or take the urn home.
Well,
whatever,
you can,
whatever we choose to do.
Whatever you choose to do. But if you choose to scatter the ashes, let me make a suggestion that I would suggest that you wouldn't buy the urn, because the box that they would come in is a thick plastic black box, name, date of birth, date of death on there, and is in a plastic bag with identification number, like a tag with identification number. Again, I wouldn't suggest you buy urn. You can use that if you're going to scatter, and then we can discard the box. So that would be cost effective. And because if you buy an urn, then you put the ashes in, you'll have an urn that you can't use unless you would want to use it down the road again for somebody else that you're planning to cremate. But I mean, this is a suggestion to you.
Understand. Well, you've really given me several things, several options to truly think about and discuss with the other loved ones,
Mhm.
and so I really do appreciate.
And as our general price list in the brochures, it explains the different options and the different cremations and what comes with those different types of cremations that
Understand.
we just discussed on today.
All right.
All righty.
Understand.
Any more questions, Ms. Jackson?
I think you've answered everything extensively for me, and
Okay.
given me good food for thought, and
All right.
and definitely we'll be back in touch with you.
Sure.
And we can finalize everything that we need to do.
Yes, ma'am. Again, you have my condolences, and again, you have my card, and we're just a phone call away.
Well, thank you so very
Yes,
much,
ma'am.
Mr. Carter. I
Yes.
really appreciate you.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.